Hey, what's going on? It's your boy, Where's Waldo, and I came here to talk some boxing with the hundreds and hundreds of True School Sports subscribers. What's going on, guys? I can't even lie. I was just thinking, when I wear my hat like this and I stare straight into the camera, I look like Where's Waldo. So, shout out to Where's Waldo. But anyway, wanted to get into basically just this whole Broner Pacquiao thing. Everybody's kind of spoke on it. I haven't been able to speak on it, but I'll speak on it now. Adrien Broner's team reportedly got a call from Team Pacquiao, and that's a fight being tossed around. He's a name being tossed around, and I've watched videos, and I watched. I can't really remember all the videos I watched on YouTube, but I know the one video that I remember very well. I watched the video on Dante's Boxing Nation, and he how he is. He's pretty pretty one-sided. He thought. He thinks that a Broner Pacquiao fight would make the most pay-per-view, be the most pay-per-view buys in the history of Pacquiao pay-per-views, which is like outside of Mayweather Pacquiao. So he thinks he can outsell all those older ones, Pacquiao, De La Hoya, Pacquiao, Hatton, and all those. But anyway, I think if Pacquiao, first of all, if that fight were to happen, I'd be very pissed off, and here's why. Number one, Pacquiao would ice Broner. That would not be a competitive fight. Reason being, Adrien Broner is like, AB, I do good against southpaws. Check my record versus southpaws, bruh. Who you fought at southpaw? Who you ever fought as? You ain't fought nobody like Manny Pacquiao at southpaw. There's a distinct difference between fighting Manny Pacquiao and fighting with the southpaws. Okay. Floyd, you ain't Floyd, all right. So you ain't gonna be able to neutralize Manny as much as Floyd was able to in that fight. And it was close. That was a closer fight than the scores indicated in the Pacquiao Mayweather fight. But I don't want to see it because number one, AB don't deserve it. Who was he beat? Khabib. He beat a inactive Khabib, Kvaratskhelia. Good opponent. I give him credit for the win. He went out. He did what he had to do. But let's be honest. It was an inactive opponent, but that was probably his best win of the year. He beat John Molina Jr. pretty decisively, but in between that, he lost to Sean Porter. At Sean Porter's lowest weight, Sean Porter had to drain the hell out of himself to make the weight for that fight, and that's why if you go back and you watch it, Broner has good pop, but Porter's been hit by bigger punches than Broner. Been hit by Kell Brook. And he didn't fall. And he fell up down pretty easily in that 12th round, doing large, but do I feel him being a little drained. That can happen to you when you drain so fast, and he was never at that weight his whole career. So that's just the 144 catch weight did hurt Porter in the 12th round. But anyway, he lost to Sean Porter, and a huge reason he was not able to do anything to Sean Porter is because Sean Porter came forward the whole fight, maintained a good, steady work rate for 12 rounds, and really just, beat AB, outworked him. And AB just, before even throwing combinations, he got into the friggin' shoulder roll and started doing this whole Floyd imitation, and that was ridiculous. And then he tried to clinch him, and Floyd was giving him instructions. Go back and watch the fight. Floyd was on the sideline giving him instructions, in the crowd, I should say, giving him instructions. If you guys watched the PBC fight, I think it was last Friday on Spike TV, Gervonta Davis, if you watch Gervonta Davis's last fight, kind of like that, the way Floyd was giving Gervonta Davis instructions, that's the way he was doing it with Broner, except the arena was bigger and Floyd wasn't as visible as he was in the Gervonta Davis fight. But, AB versus Pacquiao would be good because it's going to sell because people don't like AB. He's an interesting personality. He's got a known name and all that stuff. But it's ridiculous because Broner, we know that his punch output isn't high. We know that it's not like when we speak about Broner, we're not talking about like this excellent counterpuncher like like a Floyd or like even a Juan Manuel Marquez is pretty good. He's not those guys when it comes to being effective as a counterpuncher, and that's what Manny usually struggles against. So if he's not bringing that counterpunching to the table, he ain't really he only put a lot of punches together. he's fighting a guy who likes to come forward, go side to side, and can maintain. This isn't the Pacquiao that was throwing 900, 800 punches, but this is still a guy that can maintain 500 to 600 punches a night on his best nights now. So I know in the Floyd fight he threw 300, 400 punches. Broner, I honestly, Pacquiao. I think Pacquiao would ice Broner. I think if I was Team Pacquiao, Broner is the type of opponent, the exact opponent that I would be looking for to fight. If I'm trying to get a second Floyd fight and you need a win against a name to prove it, that's the name I'm looking at right there. But if I'm looking at going out on my last leg against the best, I'm fighting homie right here, Terrence freaking Crawford. You gotta fight T-Bud. If Manny's trying to go out on top and he's trying to go out with a bang, he's gotta fight Terrence Crawford. Fighting Amir Khan, he's been beat before. He ain't proven nothing out. He's proved nothing at 147. He's a chump at 147. He's resting on the laurels of his accomplishments at 140, and he's trying to take credit for wins against decent names who are 140 pounders, but when he fought him at 147. So Amir Khan unproven, Keith Thurman in hiding, all these there's just not a lot of guys that deserve to fight more than Terrence Crawford. A guy who, when he became a champion, had to go to Scotland, to another guy's hometown, which is almost unheard of in boxing these days. He had to go to another guy's hometown and beat a decent fighter. We're not talking about beating an A-level fighter, but a solid B fighter in Ricky Burns, a guy who had roughly 4 title defenses before he fought Crawford. So this is not like some paper champion who just picked up a vacant title or something like that. This is a guy who had been champion, who had made a few defenses, and Crawford went into his backyard, outboxed him, and got the decision in Scotland. And that's that. When you can fight that and win that convincingly in another guy's backyard, that speaks volumes to you as a fighter. There's only 2 fighters in boxing today that I can think of right now off the top of my head that come to mind when you talk about guys who have been to other guys' hometowns to become champion. And that's Terrence Crawford, and that's a guy who, and that's also Sergey Kovalev, who's always fighting other guys' backyards because he doesn't care. He's so dominant, he's so good, he'll go anywhere and fight you. So Terrence did that. He beat, although it was a smaller fighter who he had to pick from weight class, he chose his first title defense at 135 against Yukiyoris Gamboa, and was undefeated fighter, an inactive fighter, yes, but a guy with a great amateur pedigree who was able to beat Crawford those first 2 or 3 rounds and really had to force Crawford to dig deep into his toolbox of skills. And when you can do that, and when a guy has to do that, that's when we truly find out how great they are. And on that night, we found out how great Terrence Crawford was and could be in the future. And a fight with Pacquiao would be huge for him. So, Broner versus Pacquiao, even Pacquiao as old as he is now, I think that's a mismatch. I think Pacquiao would ice Broner. Broner might pick up 2 rounds at best, but honestly, Pacquiao, that's the exact opponent Pacquiao should pick. A guy who has, he has overrated power. A guy in Broner who has overrated power, who is inactive, doesn't put punches together, doesn't really know how to stick with his jab. Anybody who has a low punch output and doesn't really know how to move all that well. Broner is good, but his movement isn't really all that good. So that being said, I think this is a good fight for Pacquiao. If it happens, I really don't hope it doesn't happen because I'm not even sure how. Even if Pacquiao agreed to, I'm not even sure how it would be able to get finalized because, Broner's with Heyman and Heyman, Arum, you know how that is. So it is what it is. But I wouldn't even think twice about who I pick in that fight. I'd be Pacquiao all day. No activity, average movement, above average power, but not devastating power. He's never knocked out a world-class fighter in his life. So that's what it is, man. I got Pacquiao stopping Broner. Easy. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Broner, Pacquiao, who do you pick to win and why if the fight happened? And do you even want to see that fight? And if not, who do you want to see Manny Pacquiao fight in his last fight. Leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. And until next time, take care, guys. Salute.